and I'll let her just introduce herself, and it'd be great if you would all welcome her. She's has a lot of things on her plate, but one of her main duties will be engagement with the district and engagement with specifically Ward 5. So Cheyenne, I'll just turn it over to you.
Thank you so much, Matt. That was a great introduction. Thank you, Chairman, for moving me up on the agenda. I do plan to stay for the whole meeting. As Matt said, I've lived in the district for quite a while. Part of my interest in this role at Catholic University is because I live in the neighborhood. So this is my local ANC. And so not only am I here for the university, but I'm here also as a resident, as a community member, as your neighbor and friend. I will be reaching out to each of you individually to discuss any priorities or challenges you may have around the university. Please know that I'm here. I will be putting my contact information in the chat, and I look forward to working with you all.
Thanks very much. We welcome you, and we too look forward to working with you. We've enjoyed our relationship with Mr. Dolan and everybody else over at CUA over the last few years. We kind of got off track with regard to the scheduling of a meeting, sort of where we could get together with the ANC and just have one-on-one communications with you guys. And so we're looking forward to getting that back on schedule whenever you can. And let's see, I'll open the floor up now to any of the commissioners. Anybody have anything they'd like to say?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that, I got to have a couple of great conversations with Ms. Range, and, really just her whole goal, like she said, is just to really highlight, especially too, all the good work that Catholic does in the community. And, as a student here, I think I have a cool perspective on it. Catholic just does a ton of work within the community, and it's just a great university to have in the ANC. So, I'm excited for Ms. Range to come on, and, really my whole goal too is to have a good line of communication with her and just report to you guys at the ANC, other fellow commissioners, all the good work that's going on at Catholic, and really highlight some of that stuff.
All right, thank you. Commissioner Lucio.
Thank you, Chairman Edwards. Welcome, Ms. Range. I just wanted to introduce myself. My name is Emily Lucio. I'm in 5A03. I first wanted to ask what area of the ANC you live in.
I'm on 9th and Kearney.
Oh, so you're in 5B.
Yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to clarify that. I just wanted to double check. So thank you. So just to give you a little bit of background on me, I've lived here for almost 20 years, and I actually worked at Catholic University for 10. So I have a long history with Catholic University, and know it very well, and many of the people there. So we've had a great working relationship with Catholic, and we look forward to continuing that. So thank you.
Any other questions?
Mr. Chairman, there's one question.
Yeah.
One question by Ms. Lieutenant Evans. Just wanted to clarify, Ms. Range, hello, glad to see you. Look forward to working with you as well. She was just asking, what is your specific role with Catholic University?
As associate director.
Yeah,
Okay.
so I am the associate director for my formal title, and I'll finish tapping in a sec.
I got it. It was on the agenda. I put it in the chat.
Yeah, government and community relations. And so you all should know that it's a priority for the university to really build out our government and community relations department. But at the moment, I am running traps on all. So that's ANC, the mayor's office, our federal partners, everybody.
So everybody.
Thank you.
All right. Well, it was very nice meeting you, and we do look forward to working with you. Any problems, get in contact with us through Commissioner Rojas, or you can call us directly. We are here.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. And yes, getting together is one of the things I plan to do in my first 100 days here at the university. I started on December 13th, so just give me a bit of time. But I look forward to seeing you all. Thank you.
Thank you.
If I can add something really quick, Chairman.
Yes, sir. You have the floor.
First of all, welcome, Mrs. Range. But and this may not be, within your lane, but from previously when Catholic U was on, and I believe they were talking about their solar panel project and things like that, I introduced the idea, and this idea actually came from Mr. Bowser about ways that Catholic University could work with the community, particularly when it came to employment and training opportunities related to those green jobs. So I would like to see if I could follow up with you, if you might be able to be the best point of contact for that moving forward.
Absolutely. I welcome the conversation. You should know, just as I've been having internal meetings here at the university, that is something that has come up. And so internal folks at the university, it is a priority. We are thinking about it, but I do welcome the conversation to hear your perspective and any ideas you might have. And look, just look forward to that conversation. We are in the process of really doing a audit to see the impact that we have as it relates to not only scholarships, but also how many people that live in the ward are currently employed by the university. And there's always room for growth, is the way we are looking at that. And so, yes, the solar project, we do have a vision, not only for employment, but also to ensure that, the students in the neighborhood have access to it, field trips, training opportunities, internships. That's something that we are in discussion about, and I hope to bring a full report to once decisions have been made to you all.
Thank you. And with that, would you mind putting your, at least maybe email address?
Yeah, I'm going to put it all in. I should have had it
Thank
pre-typed
you.
before I came to the floor.
Thank you for that. Thanks for the time, Chairman.
Thank you.
All right, I think that's it. Thank you again, Ms. Range, and we look forward to working with you.
Thank you. Good night.
Okay. All right, I'd like to probably extend the same courtesy to Ms. Sandstrom if she is here from DC Trail Ranges. Commissioner Lucio, you introducing that?
She's here.
Okay, are you doing the introduction? Is there anything?
There wasn't really any introduction. They just asked to come to, they've been asking to come for a while, but she is on the call. I did see her. Yes, there she is. Miss Ursula, if you'd like to unmute, and if you have a PowerPoint, I can give you co-hosting, but if you don't, that's fine.
No, I am keeping it short and simple today. Thank you all for having me. Wanted to pop in. So DC Trail Rangers are the outreach and maintenance team for DC's urban trails. We've been in operation since 2013, but only funded at a seasonal part-time level. And we are finally at full year-round, full-time presence. That means that there are government staff, funded staff on our trails, including the Metropolitan Branch Trail that goes through this ANC year-round, because folks are on trails year-round. Things happen year-round. We have snowstorms, trees fall. So yeah, just wanted to come on, kind of doing a tour of various organizations, come on and say hi. I am the director of the program. And yeah, staff are on board, all field staff. They started on the 19th of January. So regular shift presence and programming should begin in February. We're currently doing lots of orientation. So yeah, green shirts, they're on bikes on the Met Branch Trail. You will be seeing them around. Give them a wave if you see them. They're nice. Yeah, that's just wanted to say hi, and we're here.
All right, I appreciate that. It's always nice to know about the different amenities and the services and everything that's going on in the community.
Here's our shirts.
Yes. Oh yes,
Yeah.
DC Trail Ranges. Commissioner Holloway, you have the floor. Commissioner Holloway.
Can we see him?
Can't see him. I see he got his hand raised. Commissioner Lucio, you have the floor.
Hold on,
while
can
he
you hear
works
me?
out okay, he's
Can you
there.
guys hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I just wanted to thank Ursula for coming on. She's very busy and she's a very good neighbor. She's one of my constituents here in 5806. And there were some things that we left out, but I will send it as well. They have 2 coordinator positions that she made available to me, and I just wasn't able to share them with the commission as fast, but I want to make it public knowledge. And I just want to thank her for coming on and sharing, and hope that the commission can support her in future endeavors. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Lucio, you have the floor.
Welcome. I appreciate you joining us this evening. I did want to ask 2 questions. First of all, as you know, on the Metropolitan Branch Trail, safety is a huge concern. And so I wanted to know if you all are, playing any role in that in terms of helping keep it safe besides, clean and everything like that, if you're playing any role in that. And then I guess also if you're aware of, the status on the update of the extension at all would be helpful as well.
Yes, yeah, and I see this is a question in chat as well, related to that extension. So yes, for lava trail rangers, the definition, and for kind of this like in agreement with DDOT, the Metropolitan Branch Trail starts at Union Station and goes on both 2nd and 1st, paralleling until M. So the sidewalk and the roadway on 2nd, the kind of the older version, and then the protected bike lane and sidewalk on 1st until M at the ramp, and the stairs at L. And then we are currently stopping right at John McCormick and Bates because the new portion is not open, with some occasional pops up to, there is like a 2-block stretch just before Silver Spring, but on the DC side of the trail that is currently built there. So we do a little bit in that portion. But yes, we will be extending to the new portion once it is officially opened. And last I heard from DDOT, should be opening up in February. They were getting real close here at the end of January, but things are taking a little bit longer than anticipated, which is classic construction. But I think we are honestly, from what I'm hearing, in the date range of actually very soon. But I have not heard any official like grand opening.
Right. Thank you. I have one last follow-up question regard to safety that you may or may not know the answer to. I think this is more of an MPD question, but you may have heard that down on one end of the trail that's not in this ANC, it's farther down towards the playground area. There have been cars that have somehow been able to get on the trail and drive on the trail. And I wasn't sure what you all were doing in terms of preventing that from happening. If you're putting up more blockades to prevent that from happening, or what the plan is for that.
Yeah, so for people driving cars getting on the trail, yeah, that mostly happens down at like R Street and S. So we, the trail rangers themselves do not have like authority to drill into DDOT pavement and kind of do that level of installation that is kind of above us. We're glass, trash, removing vegetation, invasive species, kind of that daily service level of things, and then a lot of reporting of anything that requires like planning or engineer skills or power tools. So yeah, that is on my mind as a like project and concern. We need to have DDOT install 2 more flex posts at S Street. They have been damaged and destroyed, though that is intentionally, a flexible thing that any sort of metal vehicle can just drive right over. And there's the metal bollards at our street, so we have some precedent for metal bollards. The challenge with adding more metal bollards is it does limit like accessibility and like the types of non-motorized ways in which you can get on the trail. You know, hand trikes, wheelchairs, like even like large bikes. So yeah, not sure. Cars on the trail is definitely on my mind, and will be part of, especially now that we are full-time year-round, something that we will have more capacity to think about, and talk with DDOT about, like, hey, like, given the actual what this like landscape looks like, what can be done about design, because we all know that like putting up a sign is not going to magically change behavior and have folks stop driving. You really have to like build it into what the built landscape looks like. And yeah, so for safety, we are not on the enforcement end of things. We have ranger in our title. That is not what the program is set up for. For safety, we, the staff are eyes and presence on the trail. We're talking to folks, and connected a lot with maintenance of keeping lights on and like things that are broken. My priority with staff and like kind of how we run that program, thinking about maintenance is making sure, yeah, that the truly like big broken things do get fixed. So lights, potholes, and do not prioritize the things like graffiti and small things that look cluttery, but are not actually a like threat directly to human life, except for neo-Nazi graffiti. Those that we remove right quick. Anything that is actually like a hate crime.
Great, thank you so much.
All right, I see Commissioner Holloway, your hand is still up. Were you finished? Yeah. If not,
Actually,
we'll move.
Actually, I wasn't. I just wanted to say that appreciate the question, but more so, I think that last question was more of a, you know, we have in areas, we have Metro Transit Police and we have MPD with certain units that take care of stuff in reference to that is what we're saying. We're talking about cars on the trail and stuff like that. I don't think all they could do, Ursula and anyone else, is try to set up protocols to try to make sure that that's a safety thing that we keep abroad. But that's actually a question for MPD and Metro Transit Police. I know that by being a part of Metro Transit Police 4.5 years. So they did work on the trails as well. All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Fletcher.
Yeah, just very quickly, one thing you said, Ursula, thank you very much for being here. But when you talk about safety and light illumination on the trails, I want to double down on that and emphasize that. Just make sure that that is something that you are consistently ensuring is there, because lighting is so crucial to the safety of our bikers on that trail, especially, you know, during the colder months, and because we have cyclists that you will probably use that trail no matter what time of year. So I just want to double down on that and just ensure that you can do everything you can to make sure that trail is always lit properly, because that can have a very lasting effect when it comes to safety. That's it, Mr. Chair.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And that, yeah, for us, that is on the list of, we report and nag DDOT, and then actual like electricians come in and deal with that. The good news for the trail is that we are now, for the Met branch, having all the lights wired and into the street grid. So we are no longer in the solar panel lights that were installed when the trail was opened in 2013 that were a poor choice and should not have been installed. Those were bad lights. And that company has actually, I believe, gone under and is no longer operational because their product
Exactly.
is terrible.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Are there any further questions? Otherwise, Ms. Sandstrom, is there anything that you'd like to say in closing out? What happened? Did I lose her?
No,
Okay.
I'm just done. I'm trying to answer a question for Ashley about another trail.
Okay.
Captain
So
Terry. Captain
you're
Terry.
good? Okay, thank you. All right, thank you again for being here. Very informative information.
Actually,
So-
Chairman Edwards, I'm
well-
sorry, Captain Terry
Captain
has his
Terry
hand
has his
raised.
hand up, yeah.
Yes, I just saw it. Captain Terry?
Hi, sorry, I didn't have a question. I just wanted to make sure you saw me because I can give you a report if nobody has jumped on.
Okay, what is this, the 4D report? I mean, the police report?
Correct. Yep.
Yes, Commander Harad has been on, but do you have any information that you feel that you need to share with us? We'll take it.
Yeah. He said he has a report.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Well, I'm not sure what he's talked about in the way of crime. And I don't know how many questions he specifically answered. So I'm sure he has a pretty good handle of what's going on if he was on the meeting. But just wanted to just give you a brief overview just the Sector 2 4th District in general. Our crime, threshold for the year is down significantly. As far as the ANC itself, we've seen it uptick a little bit in property crime, especially like along Eastern Avenue and Sergeant Road and the South Dakota Avenue corridor. But then as far as violent crime, we've seen a pretty good drop. The only thing we've had is 3 robberies, and historically problem areas, which would be Fort Totten, the Fort Totten Metro, and then the 4900 block of South Dakota Avenue. Stemming from that McDonald's, there's been 2 robberies there in the last couple of weeks. And then I was just wanted to jump on and answer any questions I might be able to answer for anybody.
All right, I appreciate that. Well, the commander was here, and there were a couple of questions, I think some about vandalism and stuff like that that's been going on in the neighborhood. So I'm sure that commissioners have questions for you. I see their hands are coming up now. Commissioner Lockett, you have the floor.
Good evening, Captain. How are you this evening?
Good evening.
Oh, okay. My bad. Okay.
you're fine. I'm sorry.
All right. Same question I had for you, I had for the commander. Do you have a number of a percentage of your officers that do not live in the city or live into the city, a percentage?
I don't have that information. I mean, I could look and then forward that along to you in an email.
Okay.
But I mean, I would have to manually count that, I think. I don't.
Okay. Okay. My next question is that you brought up the robbery of McDonald's.
Yes.
McDonald's is probably the only McDonald's in the city of Maryland that's not been remodeled. And this was put forth to us 4 or 5 years ago, and we've not heard anything yet what their intentions are. A whole lot of my residents have asked me about it. And I assume when they remodel, they will put up additional security devices similar to the camera who showed the gentleman who was robbing McDonald's.
Mr. Lockett, that's in my single member district. We've been meeting about that. I'm happy to share that information with you offline.
Commissioner Lucio, I texted
Yes.
you about a month ago, 2 months ago. You didn't respond. What do you want me to do?
I'm sorry, I don't recall a text. What I can tell you is that they are still waiting on the comp plan. Once the comp plan is done, then they will be moving forward with the remodeling. But I'm happy to reach out to them directly to ask them about what they're planning to do in terms of security. That would be the place to ask that question.
Okay, thank you.
All right, Commissioner McDuffie, you have the floor, and then after him, Commissioner Fletcher.
Thank you. And I'm not going to keep you, Captain Terry. I just wanted some clarity when you said property crime and you mentioned Eastern Avenue,
Mhm.
Sergeant Road, South Dakota. Can you be a little bit more specific? Was it just, auto theft, break-ins? So, we can kind of want to know a little bit more detail when you say property crime.
Sure. Give me just a minute here.
Thank you.
Yeah, it looks like for the month, we've seen 11 theft from autos, which is right in line actually with what we had the month prior with 11.
Okay.
Then we had thefts. That includes like thefts from grocery stores or gas stations, porches. That could kind of all get lumped in together, like mail thefts.
Okay.
We had 9 of those this month and 8 last month.
Well,
And then
but
we're seeing
particularly home invasions, and I'm sorry, Captain, but is my serious concern. I make sure when you say property crimes, I want to see if there's been a lot of home invasions and things of that nature.
I'm only showing 1 burglary for this month in this area. Let me double check here. Let me double check where that one
Not to
was.
devalue the other crimes, but as you can imagine.
Yeah, no, and some communities, different problems are of more importance. I know that we've had a bunch of destruction of properties that involve vehicles. That's sort of been all over the 4th district and 5th district, where people are just vandalizing vehicle windows and not breaking into the video, but just sort of like mischievous vandalism, which becomes a problem when you start getting into multiple vehicles in a block. Let me see here. Yeah, so I'm showing 1 burglary on this, but the way the system captures it, it looks like it may have been the robbery. Hold on. Of the McDonald's. Yeah, but we've only seen one. We've seen sort of an uptick in burglaries in the Sector 2 area, but not specifically in your ANC.
Okay. Thank you for that update. Okay. Appreciate that.
Commissioner Fletcher.
Yes, sorry, I was trying to get off mute. Captain Terry, thank you very much for your time. I just wanted to let you know that Commander, when he was on earlier, he talked a little bit about the not the break and enterings, but the breaking of car windows along Gallatin Street. And that is within my single member district. So definitely want to find out more information around that, because he explained that it's not just in my single member district. It is looking like it's all around ANC 5A and other ANCs. So I would love any information that we could get so we can help make our communities as safe as possible. We also have an ANC 5A public safety task force that I just wanted you to be aware of, because I would like to talk with you and the commander about possibly hosting a public safety meeting for ANC 5A before we get into the springtime. Because I know typically springtime, warmer weather, crime unfortunately increases. So as we prepare for that, we'd like to have a public safety community meeting with you and the commander and other members of just safety in Ward 5 in the city. So if just want to put you on radar for that, hopefully that's something that you support, and we could talk further about it at a later time.
Yeah, most definitely. We're always willing to step out and work with people. Yeah, so as far as the destruction of properties that we've seen with that, so it looks like it started maybe 2 weeks ago along Eastern Avenue. It looks like a vehicle goes through the block because we have video from the incident, that the second incident that happened. So the first incident was on a Sunday night, 2 Sundays ago. It looks like a bunch of vehicles had their windows broken out. Nothing was taken. So that was sort of our first incident. We assumed it might have been an attempt at some theft from autos, but we weren't sure. So then I believe it was Wednesday following that Sunday, we're actually able to ring video of a vehicle driving through the block and shooting out windows with like a pellet gun. It looks like it might be an airsoft gun, so like plastic BBs or some kind of BB shooting out windows. So we saw that. I put units in the area because it was happening right around the evening midnight changeover. So probably 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. And then the 5th district had a similar incident, not close to the 4th district, sort of like in the middle of 5D. So it appeared maybe the individuals had ties to either area, or it doesn't appear random because it's just 2 areas that they keep going back to. And then this past Sunday, I believe there was another incident in the PSA 405 area, pretty close to the first one, along Sergeant Road. And then we saw it in 403 in Sector 1 and 4D along a street. So it looks like they're kind of jumping around. It's been sort of all times of day. It's been in the evening. It's been in the evening. It's been overnight. It's been at like 3 in the afternoon. This one's tough because it's sort of a crime of opportunity when people aren't around, and it's so sporadic and random. But we do have some videos, so our detectives are working on that.
Where was the activity on Sergeant Road?
Thank you.
Sure. It was on the north end of it was on the north end of Sergeant Road near like Sergeant and Eastern. I know somebody asked that.
Thank you.
And then there was a question in the chat about the robbery. One of the robberies at McDonald's, whether it was a robbery or carjacking. That one started as a vehicle hop-in. The person, our victim, left his vehicle running to run into McDonald's and get food. Someone entered it. He saw someone enter it, our victim, and ran out to the vehicle. They had a tussle at the vehicle, and the suspect produced a handgun. And then there was an altercation from there where the vehicle was taken. So it's sort of like an evolving incident between a theft from auto, a robbery, and then a carjacking. So it wasn't as cut and dry as just saying this robbery happened or this carjacking happened. It was sort of an evolving incident that happened at that location.
Got it. Okay. Oh, thank you.
All right. Want to thank you, Captain Terry, for coming. I think we've answered all of the questions from the hands that I saw. Anything you'd like to say in closing?
I appreciate everyone's time. I'm sorry I jumped on late. I'm just I'm doing this from home, so I was just able to see the email. So
no, you're doing very good. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
All right.
Chairman Edwards, I just wanted to make sure people are aware, I put it in the chat, that there is the DC crime cards map that everyone has access to, and can look up reported crimes in their area. They can do it by ward, by SMD, or citywide. So I thought that might be helpful for people to know about.
Okay, thank you. So we're on item B now under section 6, and I know Mr. Oliver is probably saying to himself, I wonder if he's gonna go back up to the top of the agenda. Is he gonna come on and take care of me? Mr. Oliver, I'm going to open the floor up now, and let's get an update from you on the library, and then we'll move back up to the top of the agenda where we will pick up on item 4H, or 5H, which is the renaming of the Lamont Riggs Library. So we'll get the update on the construction, and then we'll move up to that immediately following that. Mr. Oliver, you have the floor.
Okay, can everybody hear me?
Yes.
All right, fantastic. I'll keep this short. Basically, library construction is coming along fairly well. If you've noticed, well, let me say that it looks like they should be able to finish during spring 2022, and I would say probably the end of April in 2022. Right now, yes, the end of April. Right now, what they're doing is, if you look at the building, they are putting up the insulation, and it kind of looks like straw, but it's being put up. And then the next step is they put like a black spray covering over it to make sure that it's waterproof. And then after that, they hang panels on the side of the building to get an idea of what the panels look like You just have to go on the Kennedy Street side and look at the building itself. The bottom half rear is going to be a brownish color, and they call that grade cedar. The front part is going to be more of a marble type color, a whitish color, and that one's called Brooklyn Classic. But this whole process, and I think I set this out in not my last notification, but my prior notification to all the stakeholders of something called rain screen. And what rain screen is a new technology, or I should say a new mode of building, where what they do is build a space between the actual building itself and its outer layer. And what that space does, it allows any water that penetrates or gets through to the surface of the inner space to drain harmlessly away. The whole purpose of this is that one, the inner layer provides insulation and better coverage of heat and cold loss because there is no transfer from the outer wall of heat or cold to the inner wall because of the air gap. It also stops basically some of the problems you see with older buildings or buildings is that the material between the stone or the bricks, what have you, and especially some of the modern buildings is more of a rubber that comes out and has to be replaced. This rain screen, the whole purpose of it is to let the water in and out as quickly as possible so you have little water damage. Lastly, the panels themselves are extremely durable. And so it's designed so that graffiti and that type of thing will be easily cleaned up. And currently at the construction site, the big issue right now is they're waiting from Pepco rather to put together a meter, an electric meter that allows them to basically capture the amount of power that's going into the entire building. Once they finish the outer structure and button it up basically so that it is airtight or at least weather tight, then they'll start the indoor environment and start with the indoor plumbing and other things such as the laying the floors, the furniture, so on and so forth. So right now, they're very close, I should say within a month or less, finishing the outside of the building, buttoning the building up, and then the next step is to go inside and start putting in, roughing out, as they say, all of the electrical and all of the plumbing work that needs to be done. So in a nutshell, once they do that, next step is flooring, furniture, a ceiling tile, what have you. And hopefully, if everything goes well and there are no supply chain issues, they'll definitely hit spring 2020. So in a nutshell, that's basically it. Does anyone have any questions? Oh, one last thing, I'm sorry. I did speak to Jaspreet a couple of days ago, and she will release a new notice of construction notice rather, taking us up to date with how things stand in terms of construction. And once I get that, I will share it with everybody. But she normally shares it with the ANCs at any rate, but I will share it with everybody and with the public. So that's basically it.
I see two hands. We'll take those, Commissioner Lockett, and then after that, Commissioner Lucio.
Oliver, thank you very much for being on there. You've done a fantastic job, and I'm impressed with the information that you put out on all that's taking place up there, mainly with the library and new development. You do an outstanding job. One question, two questions for the library. Are they having rainwater catch basins on the building?
I'll say what they're doing is they're going with, I guess, what the city's trying to do, where they're trying to retain as much water on site. And I guess, I don't know if catch basin is the proper word, but they have the soil to slow it down so that when a major rain comes, it doesn't all automatically go into the sewers and cause issues there. So they're putting in preventive measures to slow the water that drains from the building,
Okay.
Retain it, and then it'll be gradually released into the sewer system.
And the second one is that are they providing any type of solar panels to conserve energy for the facility?
No solar panels, as far as I know, is a part of this. This whole new rain screen building process that they use supposedly is extremely energy efficient, and I can hopefully try to dig up some information and share that with you. But no, there will not be any panels.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Okay, Commissioner Lucio, if you don't mind, before you go.
I just wanted to mention.
Could I do one thing? You
I'm
just
sorry. Go ahead.
mentioned
Sorry.
something? Go ahead.
Yep. Sorry. Go ahead. I just wanted to mention real quick that commissioners, you got an email today, just at the time of the meeting, with a full update of the library. So you should have that.
Okay. All right,
okay, that's from Jaspreet.
Somebody saying something? Mr. Oliver, you got the floor.
Okay, no, I'm pretty much done. I'm going to answer any questions that come. I see, looks like Commissioner Fletcher may have his hand up.
Yeah, I think that's where we are now, sort of recognizing people with their hands up. Commissioner Fletcher, did you have something?
Yes, I did. I just wanted to reiterate. Where are we? I can't. Oh, yes. I just want to reiterate and just support the fact that, what Mr. Oliver has done, Rodney Foxford has done in terms of bringing the renaming of the Lamont Ridge Library before us. I support it. Everything I heard of, I've learned about Mrs. Huff, something that exudes leadership and service to our community. So I'm not sure where we are right now, Mr. Chairman. I don't want to move too fast, but I do want to, at the appropriate time, make a motion for the renaming of the Lamont Riggs Library to the Lillian Huff Lamont Riggs Library. So let me know when I could do that, Chairman.
Okay. Yeah,
on the agenda.
We're not there yet.
Okay.
Yeah, we're wrapping up the report with Mr. Oliver.
Okay. My apologies then.
Okay, Deb, I see your hand.
Yeah, my question I think is similar to, I guess, what you said or was getting ready to say. Has there been any community engagement or questioning or conversation about the renaming of the library?
Okay, you're out of order right now because I have not gotten to that. Let's finish up this conversation now about the construction of the library, and then we're going to move up to the top part of the agenda. So I'm going to rule that out of order for right now, but we will answer that question for you in a few minutes when we get to that portion on the agenda. Mr. Oliver, did you have anything else in closing? I want to close out this part on the construction.
Well, no, I don't have anything more on the construction other than looks like the library is going to be a very beautiful facility. I want to thank all the community members who have supported the building of the library and who have made suggestions as to different things or elements they like to see. In terms of the naming, I do have some comments on that, but this is not the proper session to bring it up in, but the next one should be.
That's right. All right. Okay, then thank you, Mr. Oliver, for that update on the library. As always, you always do an exceptionally thorough job and keep us informed, so we do appreciate that. The next item on the agenda that sort of got to me, I think through Commissioner McDuffie is the first one, I think, in terms of this issue. So there has been some discussion during the summer and earlier regarding the proposal to rename the library. I'm going to ask Commissioner McDuffie to speak, and then after him, it'll probably be Commissioner Fletcher, because it seems like he too is a supporter of this particular movement. But Commissioner McDuffie, you have the floor.
Thank you, Chairman. First of all, thank you, Mr. Oliver, for your updates on the construction of the library. I do want to introduce Mr. Foxworth, who has been working on this issue and the renaming of the library after Mrs. Huff. He's going to share that update as well as the. So,
Good night. Can you mute yourselves?
Thank you.
I took care of it.
Thank you. Mr. Foxworth is going to share his work, and we're not going to go too much into the detail of the folks that's been working with him. But before Mr. Foxworth comes on to share his update, Chairman and Commissioner Lucio, because you manage the website, would it be possible, and Mr. Oliver, please speak in on this, Mr. Oliver shared the policy behind the renaming, because I don't want residents thinking it's as simple as us voting and then all of a sudden it'll be renamed based off of our vote. There's a lot that goes into that. And I would like that to be shared with the community. And I was wondering if that policy, Mr. Oliver, can be shared with our chairman and Ms. Lucio and possibly somehow shared through our website or other communication. The greater the audience, the better.
If someone sends it to me, I can send it out through MailChimp.
Thank you. And Mr. Oliver, how do you feel about that? Mr. Oliver, you still with us? Okay, we can circle back on that. Rodney, if
Oh
you're
no,
ready.
I'm here. I'm
Okay.
sorry. I forgot I took myself off. No, what you've requested, I can provide you. I'll provide the entire set of procedures as to what the library's naming procedures are. And I just wanted to add to that I think that we have two great candidates, and hopefully the best one will win.
That's correct. And Mr. Oliver, if you're in touch, I have not talked to the parties that may support another name. So, and I'm more than welcome to bring them on if they have time before, and have them present and share the background of the other candidate. But I would appreciate if you could share that information on the policy behind the renaming with Commissioner Lucio, so we can have that uploaded to our website.
Well, let me add that in addition to sharing the policy, I'll share what information I have on both candidates. I think
you.
Rodney has seen some of it already, so
I would appreciate that. Thank you, sir. Mr. Foxworth.
Hi, thank you, Commissioner McDuffie. Good evening, commissioners. I'm Rodney Foxworth. I'm the Ward 4 co-chair of the committee to rename the Lamont Riggs Library in honor of Mrs. Huff. I'm also the committee coordinator. Before I continue, I want to thank Commissioner McDuffie for his support to rename the library for Mrs. Huff. As most of you know, the library is in his SMD, and Mrs. Huff actually lived a couple of blocks behind the library, also in his SMD. Also want to thank former Commissioner Frank Wiles, who's on the line. He's the co-chair, the Ward 5 co-chair of the committee to rename the library after Mrs. Huff, and he's very supportive as well. I'm here to ask 5A if they would do a letter of support in support of our efforts to rename the library after Mrs. Huff. You guys have the draft letter of support that we sent out several weeks ago. So I'm not going to go into detail, as Commissioner McDuffie said. I will just kind of highlight a couple key items from that draft letter. The first is that Mrs. Huff advocated for nearly 2 decades, nearly 20 years of her life, for not only for the library to be built, but she actually secured funding in the city's capital improvement budget for the library to be rebuilt. And I moved to the community in 2002. This was done before I got here. And so you can imagine the foresight that she had to put money in the budget to actually make sure that the library was rebuilt. I'm going to share with you some of the items from the draft letter. This is in chronological order. I'm not going to go through all of them. So again, Mrs. Huff from 65 to 83 was the leading proponent of building the library in Lamont Riggs. This included in 1978, when she was elected the leader of the district's delegation to the White House Conference on Library and Information Services. Later, she was appointed by President General Jimmy Carter as the vice president of the White House Conference on Libraries and Information Services. And she used these positions locally and in some cases nationally to further the building and the modernization of, to further the building of the original library and to actually to lobby to get funds to put in the capital improvement budget years later for the library to be rebuilt. In 1979, Congress finally approved the capital improvement budget for the library. This was before home rule, so Mrs. Huff was lobbying folks on the federal level. And then in '83, the library finally opened. And just one other note that's kind of related to this, Mrs. Huff also served as one of the leading proponents to fight I-95's plan to come right through Lamont Riggs, parts of North Michigan Park, et cetera. My understanding that it was going to be right where the red line tracks are. So you can imagine that in most Northeast cities, I-95 is like an 18-lane highway, 6 to 8 lanes on one side, 6 to 8 lanes on the other side. So if Ms. Huff had to take a leadership role in fighting this with 95, the library would probably be, an exit ramp for 95, that location, and are part of the right of way. Just a couple other things of note. It's clear with the documentation that the majority of success in getting the original library built, and now the new library lies with Mrs. Huff. And I just want to quote something from the DCPL website about how they name libraries. And this is about the Juanita Thornton Library. And I'll be brief. So the DCPL has a history of naming libraries after individuals they have some prominence in the local community. For example, the Juanita Thornton Shepherd Park Library was named after Miss Juanita Thornton, a local African-American woman. She was the leader in her community's effort to fight against a fast food restaurant being built in that site, while advocating that a library should be built there instead. So one of the things that she and others used as a rallying cry with the mayor and council members was a slogan that says, "Books, not burgers." The library was built. It was named after Mrs. Thornton. And I quote from DCPL that, and this is in quotes, "The dedicated efforts of neighborhood residents led by a retired DC school teacher, Juanita E. Thornton, made the branch a reality after 5 years of planning." Now keep in mind, Mrs. Huff did this for 20 years before it was built. Initially known as the Shepherd Park branch, the name was changed in 1992 when the neighborhood and Board of Library trustees voted to amend the name to honor the woman principally responsible for the library's completion. This is the same as our request to name the new Lamont Ridge Library after Mrs. Huff, and as DCPL puts it, to honor the woman principally responsible for the library's completion. We are heartened by the support that we've gotten from individual commissioners. I am hopeful that ANC 5A will also do a letter of support from the commission. And that's my presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Foxworth. Okay, Mr. McDuffie, Commissioner McDuffie, go ahead. You have the floor.
No, well, I just wanted to see Commissioner Wiles, my predecessor. I want to pay all due respect where he's been working on this as well, and I didn't know if he wanted to add anything with Mr. Foxworth.
No, I have nothing to add. Mr. Foxworth covered it very well.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Okay, Chairman, thank you.
All right. What I'd like to do now is open it up for discussion. Now, Commissioner McDuffie, what did you introduce a motion while you were talking, or?
I have not introduced a motion
Okay.
yet. I wanted Mr. Foxworth to come on and introduce this to the community first. I have not signed on the letter of support because, again, I wanted him to introduce this to community first. I do have a draft of the letter that I do now want to share with the community now that he's presented this. And I will, I think Commissioner Fletcher beat me to it, but I would like to put forth a motion for 5A to write a letter of support in the renaming of the library after Mrs. Huff.
All right. We can move forward in that order. I was
Okay.
just kind of looking around to see if there were any other questions. I know there was at least one.
Commissioner
question.
Lockett, I believe, has one.
Who did?
Commissioner Lockett has his hand up.
Okay, Commissioner, and I think I had was about to recognize Commissioner Fletcher. So I'd like to hear from him first, and then move to Commissioner Lockett.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I just want to say transparency. I was juggling something else. Typically, we as commissioners don't go out of order. This is Commissioner McDuffie's SMD, so I want to just put that on the record. You know, that's it, Mr. Chair, for me. That's all.
Okay. All right, Commissioner Lockett, you have the floor.
Commissioner McDuffie, based on your effort and the presentation that the gentleman did here this evening, I can assure you, you can put my name on there as support for the letter that you're putting together for it. I have your back. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Lockett. And also, I believe Mr. Oliver wanted to add something too. I know the commissioners are speaking, but before we move on, I believe he wanted to add something.
You're right. You're running. You are sort of managing this part of that. Go ahead and recognize Mr. Oliver. Then go back to him.
Mr. Oliver, please, if you can join us.
Yes. No, I would say that I think that basically because, I guess to make the long story short, I think that we should look at the work of the other individual and consider that before rushing into a vote just yet, because one of the issues is that while the committees have done good work, one can question the transparency, because the only reason that this got out into the wider community was that I had notified the members of the Friends and my stakeholders as to what was transpiring, and that we had two qualified members running for to have their name honored on the library. And so a lot of the community that I've, after making this known to my members, a lot of people didn't know that this was happening outside of the committees that were working on this.
All right, I have a question then. Could someone tell us a little bit about, in terms of, what the time schedule is for this process and who the other candidate is? I mean, that would be some good information to have.
I can do that for you. The information I'm going to send to Emily will have information on both candidates. The candidate in particular is Robert Bryant. Mr. Bryant is a architect who went to Armstrong High School. He went to Howard University and got his bachelor's in architecture. From there, he built, him and his brother built an architectural firm that in 1976, Black Enterprise magazine recognized him as one of the largest Black owned businesses in the entire nation. So here you have a guy who his brother lived in Ward 4, he lived in Ward 5, and he has done a tremendous job. He also hired a lot of African-American architects from HBCUs and mentored them, and some of them went on to truly distinguish themselves. As a matter of fact, one is teaching now at the NC State, and he's a world-renowned architect. Lastly, the Washington AIA, or the American Institutes of Architects, has recognized both Mr. Charles Bryant and his brother as fellows of the AIA. And that's the highest possible award you could get in the architectural field. This organization that he built had over 600 commissions, and a lot of things around the city that you didn't know were actually built by him, like Gallery Place, like the entire UDC campus. There was a medical ward on Howard University. There is, I guess, the I believe, the New Carrollton train stop. So there's a lot of stuff that this individual has done. And I'm saying that he will outshine Mrs. Huff because she's truly done good work. But I think that before any decision is made, the individual should get a fair review. And so that's all I'm asking is that write the whatever needs to be written and just hold off to it until you've reviewed the other individual's information. And if you feel that whoever's the best, be it Ms. Huff or be it Mr. Bryant, then go ahead and go forward. I have no problem with who wins, but I just want to have some transparency in the process.
All right,
Go ahead. No, go ahead, Chairman, please.
No, I was gonna say I appreciate that, and I was gonna come to you now to sort of help us to have some clarity. I think in answering the question about what the timeline is in terms of what we're proposing here, and have you all considered this alternative application?
I have considered the alternative. It's my understanding that any person or organization can submit a name, and for the most part, it all carries the same weight. And that name should be submitted to what is it? I believe the director of the libraries. And I'm curious as to the same way the supporters for Mrs. Huff came to me, and I'm sure other folks to gain support. Where are the folks behind this other candidate if they're looking for that same support? I mean, it's not for me to search them out. They should come to me or the other residents and present themselves. I always welcome that. Mr. Oliver, if you're in touch with them, you can have them contact me, other commissioners, and share, just like Mr. Foxworth did, share their candidates' background and, ask for that support. Mr. Foxworth, if you can speak more on the timeline, but sure. I don't think, just personally, I don't think as far as transparency, I think we've all been open and approachable. So if that other candidate wants to, if they have a committee or some supporters, we always welcome them.
Sure. Thank you, Commissioner McDuffie. I would say that our outreach has been quite extensive. We've been in contact with ANC 5A, as you know, ANC 4B. We've been in contact with South Manor Park. We've been in contact with Councilmember McDuffie, Councilmember Janice Lewis-George, North Michigan Park, Queens Chapel Park, LRCA, Lamont Community Action Group, and Citizens Aware, because we realized that even though the library sits in Lamont Riggs, specifically in Riggs Park, most libraries in the city are regional libraries. So we went beyond folks that were in Riggs Park or folks that were part of LRCA to engage the 6 or 7 other stakeholders, everyone from the council members on down. We even asked the mayor for a letter of support, and we sent this out maybe like 3 weeks to a month ago. So the outreach has been quite extensive. And I would say, and I think Robert made some good points, there's no question that both of them are worthy candidates. But I think that when you look at the DCPL qualifications or criteria for naming libraries, as I quoted from their website in the naming of the Juanita Thornton Library, they're looking to kind of name libraries after prominent local folks who really, without their efforts, the library wouldn't have been built. So I acknowledge the great work that the architect did, but they are the architect. And without Mrs. Huff being the lead in getting the library built, we wouldn't be having this conversation tonight. So I think there's a major difference.
All right, thank you for that explanation. That was a very good explanation. Commissioner McDuffie, where are we on
the timeline? Mr. Foxworth, was there any particular timeline for the renaming that you know?
So we've been talking to DCPL, as you guys can imagine, probably for like 8 months to a year about this. And we've been tracking the timeline. It's moved somewhat. At first, the timeline was for the library to open in March. And so we were given the original impressions that the board met monthly, and then we were informed that the board met every other month. So our request to 5A, as well as to the other stakeholders, and by the way, several of the other stakeholders have also agreed to give us a letter of support. So what we ask for people to do is to send us a signed letter of support in PDF format no later than February the 10th. And we will convey that to Mr. Reyes Gavin, who was the executive director of the library. We are very familiar with the rules as well. And now that I think Robert said earlier that the library may not open until April, that kind of bodes well because the library board may have maybe 2 meetings to kind of make a decision as to which way to go. And again, just let me add that I don't know if the library has ever named any of its former buildings or current buildings after the architect that built the structure itself. So that would be interesting to know, and certainly interesting to see if they would do that. But I don't know if they've done that in the past. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman.
right,
So yeah,
thank you.
that was it for me, Chairman. I didn't have anything else to add.
Okay, so just based on the discussion that we've had here now, what is your recommendation on how we proceed?
Well, again, because it's my understanding that each individual can submit their recommendation to the director of library. I think we can vote on it as a commission if we want to either write a letter of support as a commissioner or sign on individually as commissioners. But I would like to put forth the motion this afternoon, Commissioner, because of the timeline of February 10th.
All right, so your motion.
Okay, thank you. So I'd like to put forth a motion for the ANC 5A to write a letter of support and renaming of the Lamont Riggs Library after Mrs. Lillian Huff.
I second that motion.
Right.
Okay, it's been properly moved and seconded that ANC 5A write a letter of support in the renaming of the Lamont Riggs Library to the Lillian Huff. I'm going to now open the floor for any discussions. There have been any unreadiness on this motion. You've heard some discussions all evening here, commissioners. So what's your pleasure? I want to hear from you all now in terms of how you want to proceed. Do you have a motion? So there's a motion on the floor. There's a second. Is there any questions? Any discussion?
Let's move on.
All right. Hearing no discussion. All those in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions? Let the record reflect that the vote was unanimous. So we'll get that letter done. Thank you very much, Commissioner McDuffie, Mr. Foxworthy, and Mr. Oliver, and Commissioner Wiles, all for a very good presentation.
Thank you for your time, Chair.
Thank you,
Mr.
Commissioners.
Foxworth and Mr.
You're
Oliver.
welcome. Thank you, Robert.
All right.
All right, thank you. Thank you all.
All right. I was trying to get to Silas, and I think I probably missed him. He sent a message saying that he needed to leave. Silas, are you still there?
No, he's gone.
He's not, he left.
Okay, all right.
And so did Nokomis. He's not
Comas is
here.
gone too.
All right, so we missed them.
Oh, Nicomas is there.
I'm
Oh,
here.
Nokomis is
Oh,
still
Nokomis
here?
is still here.
I ain't going nowhere.
Okay, Nokomis is a soldier. He hanging in there. How you doing, Nokomis?
I'm doing well.
All right, we got a couple other things at the top of the agenda, but I'm gonna take care of you while we down here. I know people are phasing out, so what you got for us?
Okay, I'll be quick with you guys. So, as of yesterday, it is listed that 90% of DC residents are either partially or fully vaccinated, and almost 99.9% of DC residents who are 65 and older has been vaccinated. As we all know, about the last weekend that the mayor has announced the vaccination requirement to enter to the community entities such as, the retail stores and restaurants, the requirement to make sure you guys have your first shot. And by February the 15th, you are required to have your second shot. Also, it has been announced that there is a new COVID rapid test pickup site specifically for our seniors, which is at the Model City Senior Wellness Center located at 1901 Evar Street Northeast. Also, we have the mayor has launched a new COVID center in Ward 5, where residents can go get vaccinated, get their booster shot, get their PCR tests as well as their rapid test. Everything will be there, administered there. The address for this location would be 2300 Washington Place Northeast. It will operate 6 days a week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. I'm sorry, Tuesday through Sunday. Also, for those that is interested, I've been getting a lot of calls about people is unable to go to any of these sites, either because of their disability or that they are sick. So the UPS has a website where we can go onto and order our free at home COVID test. It is four per home, not 4 per person. It is four for a home. So the limit again is one order per residential address. The order includes 4 individual rapid COVID tests. So I will make sure I drop the link there. So it's going to ask you for your address and email, that sort of information. And again, this is all free. Also, also the mayor has announced the $1.5 million direct cash assistance program, along with the Office of Deputy Mayor of Planning and Economic Development. This program is will provide $900 a month for 1 year to 132 new and expected mothers in Ward 5, 7, and 8. So if if anyone that's having a baby soon or just had a baby, I encourage you guys to direct them to markthetable.org. Mark the Table will be the nonprofit organization that will implement the program. Last but not least, also I have did a community sweep throughout the Michigan Park, and I still see that there is uncollected trees, Christmas trees. So I want to let you guys know that DPW are still going around the district collecting trees. We are helping them identify our location. So they are collecting trees from January the 3rd all the way to February the 26th. Again, I'm still out in the community, putting in service requests myself, and directing them in areas that need these trees to be collected. I'd like to leave in my update there and leave the floor open for any additional questions that you guys may have.
All right, thank you, Nokomis. Commissioners, anybody got their hands up? Any questions? Anybody have any questions for Nokomis? All right, Nokomis, I don't see any hands as always.
My hand is up.
Oh, I see him. Okay, we're gonna go in this order. Commissioner Holloway, Commissioner Lockett, and then Bill. And Commissioner Fletcher, I'm gonna step out for a minute. I gotta step out for a minute. So if you could just coordinate the meeting for me.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, Commissioner Holloway.
Wow. Okay. I want to reiterate what I heard Nokomis named over there. Was it Washington Place, if I'm not mistaken? But I know that's where the DMV is over there on Rhode Island Avenue. They really have a real efficient setup. I sent some of my single member district people over there for the COVID testing, and I actually called and let them know who was coming, and they had a good operational setup for over there. So that's a good thing that people might want to consider. And I mainly just wanted to say that Nokomis, and I think what's our new member on the team, Nokomis, Chris. They came out and did snow removal for my senior citizens, and they were really on top of their game, and I appreciate it so much. You know, we know what you do administratively, but it needs to be known that you go far and beyond. And that's a lot more than I can say for a lot of people that are actually getting a paycheck as well. So thank you so much, and I appreciate your support.
No problem. Thank you.
Okay, Commissioner Lockett.
Yes, Thomas, how are you doing today, brother? All right. We spoke about a week ago, and it's still some issues with some abandoned cars that have been called in some time ago, not being removed. But my most critical one is trying to get DDOT to work with us and deal with the safety problem at the intersection of Sergeant Road and Emerson. When we spoke last with DDOT, they put a camera, speed camera, what do you say, on Eastern Avenue, but will not give us one at that intersection there for whatever reasons. They won't pave the street as they told us going on 3 years now. They will not address and give a report for the vibration study they're supposed to have taken. And the people and the residents are really getting word that they can't get the services from the government, preferably DDOT, as they spend taxpayers pay for. This is becoming a big issue in that area. I had a report that about 2-3 weeks ago, some lady, older lady was going through the intersection, and somebody must have bumped her rushing. They got out, stopped, and picked her up, and she went on. Is that the beginning to say, do we always have to wait till someone get killed before we take some action? It was already on TV last week, the same thing. I just cannot get DDOT to come and address our conditions. And this has been going on now for 3 years. And we cannot get them to do anything. That's it for me. Thank you.
I don't have, I will, give for that fee concern to our new DDOT liaison, Mr. Baker.
Yeah, Mr. Baker's on. He's on.
Mr. Baker was supposed to talk to me, I guess, a good little while ago. I never heard from him.
He hasn't been on that long. He hasn't
So,
been on that long.
this is Delando with DDOT.
Okay, Mr. Baker.
Hi, how are you?
I'm fine, and you?
I'm good. I know we did speak about the raised stop bars that you want lifted. That is an ongoing issue that has come up with you, resident. I'm sorry, you're shaking your head.
That's not ongoing. The deputy director sent a letter out to one of the residents telling them that's not going to be removed. The street is not going to be repaired. They have not released a study for the vibration of the people's homes. And if not mistaken, the last meeting we have, the commander, one of the commanders of the 4 districts, used to live on that corner and told them that that vibration was going on then. And
So
it's still happening.
So I think you misunderstood me when I said it's been an ongoing concern. I mean with residents, not necessarily. I'm not really sure what you were referring to, but what I mean is we are receiving complaints from you as a commissioner as well as residents who would like the raised stop bars removed, correct?
We did, but your deputy director said that's not going to happen.
Right. And we also did a study and we sent the study out. Did you receive the study as to why they?
Neither the residents or myself has got a copy of the vibration study at all. And they just sent it about a week ago and asked for the same thing again and no reply.
Okay. I will get back to you on the actual, I think you guys want the actual document on the findings, correct?
That would be nice.
Right. What I can offer you on this call, just to provide some kind of context, when they did do the assessment, they found that very few people are complying with the stop sign at the intersection. In fact, only 9%. There was a fatality occurrence in 2017, which is why the raised stop bars were installed in the first place.
Right.
And I'm sorry, did I hear someone
Mr. Baker,
else?
Mr. Baker, I share this with you. what's the purpose of the bars being right up on the stop sign? It serves no purpose. The stop sign is to stop you. If the raised bars were put back another 20 feet to slow them down before they get the stop sign, I could see that. But the stop bars have no purpose when you have a stop sign that the people don't even stop for. And the raised bars are no good. So okay, go ahead.
I do understand, and just to clarify, thank you for whoever added that in the chat. It's 2007, not 2017. I won't say whether I agree or not, but I can totally understand the frustration there. I'm not an engineer, so it's only so much I can speak to personally. But I do know from just receiving an outpouring of emails that residents are not happy with the shaking that is, going on in the neighborhood. I think once the assessment was done, the main reasoning why DDOT hasn't decided to remove it is because there's been a good safety record since the installation of the speed tables have been installed. So, with it not really being a safe intersection, we have not found an alternative yet. And I'm not to say that won't happen, but yes, DDOT did decide not to remove them. And I will follow up with you about getting some kind of document that would show the findings.
Well, you might want to check with the deputy director of DDOT and look at the letter that she sent out to one of the residents if they're not going to do anything there. They put a traffic camera on Eastern Avenue, and Eastern Avenue do not carry near the traffic volume that Sergeant Road does. And she will not put a camera there. That would be something accommodating, because I am fully aware when you go into pockets, just like you do the cameras on the street, these people pay attention, they slow down, they'd even stop. But here at Sergeant Road and Emerson Street, on any given day, every rush hour, I can guarantee you that if it's 200 cars coming or vehicles coming through there, 195 don't even stop. Okay. And this has been proven. But you will not do anything to correct this problem and assure the residents, the taxpayer residents, of anything safety that would curtail the traffic problems there. You won't even pave the street. And this has been going on for 3-4 years. And 2 inspectors before that did put it in and tell us, from Kelly Olson to Malika, that they will put in for the paving of the street. And it never happened. You give us a stop sign with lights on it, it only works at night. You give us a sign to tell you what the people's speed is going, but the speed is already identified there. It's only 25. We're not concerned about the speed. Stop them at that intersection before they kill somebody. That's all I ask. Thank you.
I understand. I'll follow up on a couple of things you mentioned. And like I said, I know as far as the assessment of the speed tables, you guys have been actively requesting, documentation on that. So I will speak to Kelly to get some direction on where we go from there.
I apologize if I sound bodacious, okay?
No, not at all.
It's just an issue that's been going on too long. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Lockett. And to you, Mr. Baker, we do have a public safety task force here at ANC 5A, and we will be having a public safety town hall meeting at some point within the next couple months. And we definitely want you and other folks in DDOT there to have a comprehensive conversation around safety. I just want to put that in. I see Commissioner Washington. I want to recognize her as a commissioner. Answer her for her to ask her question. Then Bill, still see you're patiently waiting. We'll get to you right after. Commissioner Washington.
Thank you, Mr. Baker, for your comments and suggestions. I just would like to say to my fellow Commissioner Lockett about the issues you're having with safety as it relates to the camera and at a stop sign. And if I may be wrong, but from my conversation about where cameras are placed, they're not placed where there is a stop sign, because the stop sign is supposed to be the safety mechanism. It's usually in the high speed areas that they put them. And I could be wrong, but I know I asked for them in the
All
past.
wrong.
Wait a minute, I've asked for them in the past myself, and those were the kind of responses that I got for my community. And I just wanted to say that if you or any of your residents got a letter from the deputy director that's saying they're denying it, I would suggest that you take that to the next level above the director at DDOT and take it to your council member and let them deal with that situation. Because I think that's where the issues lie, you know, not with the individuals who are helping as liaisons throughout the community. I just think that if I got one, I would definitely give it to contact the council member's office and ask for his support in trying to move to the next level with addressing that issue. And that's just a point of contact, you know.
Commissioner Washington,
That's all.
everything you said, I agree.
Yeah.
They just had one of the signs at Michigan Avenue and Eastern Avenue, right on the corner of a stop sign, right there. They'll come back and stay there maybe a month because it was not getting any revenue. They took it away. You can get that revenue at Sergeant Road and Eastern Avenue. Okay, you can do that, but they're not doing what they need to do in our community, or at least in North Michigan Park, to make the residents feel safe about that intersection. And again, and I'll say this to Mr. Baker, I have credentials as an engineer tech for 33 years, retired federal government. When I talk about the speed bumps and it's up on the stop sign, it does not support anything. The stop sign does that. The speed bump should be back 20 feet.
Yeah.
You can go to
So-
anybody in the highway and they'll tell you the same thing.
Yep. And Commissioner Lockett, I agree with everything you're saying. Mr. Baker, as you can see, we have some serious conversations and suggestions around ways to make our community safer. So again, I'm going to double down. We will be reaching out to you to have a conversation around safety, a comprehensive conversation focused on safety in ANC 5A at a later date. We're going to keep the meeting moving along because the hour is late. It is 9:08. Bill, I want to give you the floor so you have an opportunity to ask your question, make your comment, and then we're going to move right back up to the top of the agenda so we can move along with the meeting so everyone can get to their family and friends. So Bill, you have the floor.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir, we can.
Okay, first I have a question for Mr. Lockett. There's a sign on your block that says blind pedestrian or something. Is that sign still valid? Is there someone on your block who's blind? Now, for the mayor's rep and for DDOT, I dropped in the chat 2 links to 2 videos. I brought this up at a couple of meetings about a blind neighbor who needs assistance in crossing South Dakota Avenue and 8th Street. Please check those links out. One is the problem and the other is the solution.
I have a blind neighbor that lives directly across the street from me.
Okay, so that sign is still valid, Mr. Lockett?
Oh, yes.
Thank you. That's all I need to know. But then again, please, gentlemen from the mayor's office and from McDuffie's office, DDOT, check those 2 links and try to help out this neighbor who has difficulty crossing. He's blind and he has problems crossing South Dakota Avenue.
Thank you for mentioning. This is Delano with DDOT. To touch on that, we do have eyes on that right now. So I can't guarantee you, but what I feel is going to happen, they are entertaining pedestrian flashers at that location. But the more information I get, I'll be able to update you. I believe I know.
You were on an email chain.
Correct.
That was, and I sent you something today.
Correct.
So y'all working on it.
Correct. Correct.
And you do realize this has been going on for over 2 years.
I do realize that, and I do remember the email that I received today. And again, there are eyes on that situation. And just to update you, informally, it seems as though engineers are considering pedestrian flashers at that location.
Thank you very much.
But as soon as I actually have a direct response, I'll provide the update to you.
Okay, and just to move again, I want to make sure we have a lot of questions. We're going to keep having questions because safety is a big issue in our community, but I want to respect everyone's time as well. So Mr. Baker, if you can stay on, and answer questions in the chat. I think that would be an efficient use of everyone's time. Make sure everyone's questions get answered and we can move along. And like I said, I'm going to be reaching out to you on behalf of our chairman and the entire ANC to put together a comprehensive safety meeting. Commissioner Holloway, I see your hand is raised. Is there another? Because I feel like we're going to keep going on and on with this discussion, and we're going to get to 10 o'clock very soon. But I want to recognize you, Commissioner Holloway.
Okay, forgive me, I'll be brief, but I haven't spoke much, but I'm just trying to figure the intersection that you're talking about and what is the real value of having pedestrian flashes. And I heard that and I'm like, I'm trying to figure what is this got to do? How is this helping a disabled blind person? I mean, how long has this been on the table? It's not in my single member district, but I was just really concerned when you said you don't use pedestrian flashes like this was a car issue. This is a person issue. So I'm just trying to figure, have you went ahead and made more attributes as to where you're going to go with this, besides just leaving it with, you know, the flashes and you have eyes on it? Thank you.
Mr. Baker?
Yes, I'm here. When I say there's eyes on it internally at DDOT, those are engineers. I'm not an engineer. What I did informally share with you is that is something that is being considered. As far as the context behind why that's considered, I can't provide that to you till I actually have a formal response via email. So yeah, I can't really speak any further on that. I'm not an engineer.
Mr. Baker. Well, I'm sorry.
No,
Mr. Baker, let
Commissioner
me ask one thing, and it goes back to Commissioner Lucio. Commissioner Lucio, the speed bumps that are put in your area over there, are any of those speed bumps up on the stop sign? No, they're in the middle of the streets, aren't they?
They are not. That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, we're going to end this discussion for time purposes because we have other business to still get through, and the time is almost 9:15. So, Commissioner Lucio, from my understanding, and Chairman Edwards, he's dealing with an emergency, so we're going to move the agenda along, move the meeting along as best as we can together. So, going back up to Commission business, and Mr. Baker, thank you for your time and answering questions. So with that being said, we are at
Commissioner Fletcher, can I make a suggestion real quick? We've got 2 items left on the agenda. One of them is going to take 2 seconds. The other one may take a little bit longer of a discussion. The first, the one with the calendar, we just need to approve the calendar. That'll take 2 seconds.
So
can I do that real quick and then we can do the grant?
By all means, please. So let's hear about the annual calendar. Commissioner Lucio, you have the floor.
Thank you, Commissioner Fletcher. So as you all know, we have to approve the calendar for the year. Our meetings will be, as always, the fourth Wednesday of every month. With the exception of July and August, so we will have meetings. The only change I'm requesting that we make is, as we have done in the past, is with November. The way the calendar falls this year, our meeting would be the Wednesday before Thanksgiving. There is a Wednesday, the week after Thanksgiving. And since we don't have a December meeting, I am asking that we move our November meeting to the 30th of November. So that would be the fourth Wednesday of every month, with the exception of November, which would be the 5th Wednesday. So if I could get approval on that, that would be great. And I sent everyone the list of dates in advance, so you all should have those.
So Commission, I'll entertain a motion at this time.
I motion it.
Okay, what I want to be.
I was going to say maybe Commissioner Lucio may want to present this motion, and this is
Sure,
the change.
I can present the motion. So let me. I'm happy to do that. So I am proposing. I can't pull up the list right now. I did put it all on this nice little list, but let me do this real quick. So I'm proposing that we meet obviously today, January 25th, February 23rd, March 23rd, April 27th, May 25th, June 22nd. We do not meet in July. We do not meet in August. September 28th, October 26th, and I'm requesting that we move November from the 23rd to the 30th, and then no meeting in December.
Okay, so commissioners, commissioners, you've heard the motion
I second
made by
that.
Commissioner Lucio. It's been seconded by Commissioner McDuffie. Ready for the question. All those in favor use by normal signs of aye.
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 Okay.
Aye.
Okay. All those opposed say nay. Any
Question.
abstention? Yes, question. Yes, Commissioner Washington.
I mean, it's always worked the third Wednesday. I mean, I'm just trying to figure out why we need to move it to the fifth Wednesday.
In November?
Yeah, in November. That's what I'm speaking of, in November. We're moving into holiday season. Not most people go away for the holiday if they are, depending on COVID. Come back, and then you got to be prepared for a meeting on the 30th. I mean, that's just my opinion.
I'm looking at the calendar and I'm just, the Wednesday, but that if she had it kept it the same Wednesday would be the day before Thanksgiving. Is that correct, Commissioner?
No, we
Lucy?
always do it
Right,
the
correct. So Commissioner Washington is suggesting we put it the Wednesday before that,
Okay.
which is what we've
That's
done
what
in the past. But the only
Right.
reason we've done that in the past is because there hasn't been a Wednesday after. Personally, it would be easier for me to do it the Wednesday after, but if it works for everybody else, we can do it the Wednesday before on the 16th.
So this sounds like a friendly amendment that's being made by Commissioner Washington. Do you accept that friendly amendment, Commissioner Lucio?
I mean, that's just like, I don't want to make it personal. I mean, I'm just saying
Right.
that's what has been the norm.
I just was trying to spread them out a bit because otherwise we're only 3 weeks from our previous meeting. And this way, since we don't have a meeting in December, it's not so far apart from our January meeting. That was my only thought.
Commissioner,
Yeah, Commissioner Holloway.
all due respect to everybody, and I see what Commissioner Washington is saying as well, but due to the time that we're dealing with, can we revisit this at the next meeting? I know we're supposed to vote on it.
We could do that, but if we could.
It's not that big of a deal.
Yeah, so
I'm
hold
okay
up.
doing it, whatever. I'd rather just get this done.
Yeah.
It's not that big of a deal.
Okay, well, wait a minute, Commissioner Lucio. This is Commissioner Holloway. I do have an opinion here too. So there's a motion on the floor. So what I'm saying is we can vote on it as a whole, but as Commissioner Washington said, we're not going to get this done because we all have different, we have to look at what we're doing at this particular time, and that can be moved on. So we can move that particular November. So let me put the motion out to say, let's deal with November at the next meeting.
No,
So
we can't do that.
Commissioners, so everyone, hold on, please. Robert's Rule of Order, there's a motion before us. It's been made by Commissioner Lucio. It's been probably seconded by Commissioner McDuffie. Okay, Commissioner Washington had a question. We have, before we do anything else, we have to finalize this motion before us.
Right.
Just out of respect, this is nothing against anyone. This is just the procedure.
Right.
So Commissioner Washington, now, are you asking for a friendly amendment or not? Because you have the floor, ma'am, regarding that.
I had a question.
Okay, so
And
just a
and
question.
the question was, why are we moving it when in the past it's always been on the 16th?
Okay.
Commissioner Lucio responded, personally for her, it would be better to do it on the 30th.
Well,
And I
actually, Commissioner,
Hold on,
we've moved it in the past.
Commissioner Lucio, let Commissioner
the last 3 years,
Commissioner
the last 3
Lucio,
years that I've
Commissioner
been
Lucio, let
commissioner,
Commissioner Washington
we've moved
finish.
it the last 3 years.
Out of order.
Yeah, Commissioner Lucio, just let Commissioner Washington finish, and then you have the floor, Commissioner Lucio. Just want to make sure everyone's hearing everyone, that's all.
We have moved it every year, as long as I have been a commissioner, from the fourth Wednesday to the third Wednesday in order to make it so that it would not be, because the Wednesday always fell on the Wednesday before Thanksgiving.
That's fine. I don't care. We can do it the third Wednesday. I just was trying to make a suggestion that I thought would be easier. If it's not a big deal, Commissioner Washington. We can put it.
Oh, it's not. It's
done.
Yeah, it's
It's
just
done.
a question for me, that's all. And if we want to continue, I mean, I can vote on it, and I'm not asking for a friendly amendment. I was asking just a question for an answer.
Okay.
That's all I was doing.
Okay.
All I did was suggest that it might be better because it's closer and it's not as far, it's farther away from the other one. So I was trying to make it easier.
Okay.
We're great. We're great here. It sounds, the question got answered.
Right, so Commissioner Gordon Fletcher, move it forward.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much,
I
Commissioner
probably
Washington.
won't be there. I'm just gonna say that. I probably
Okay.
won't be there, but that's
Commissioner-
another story. But-
So Commissioner Lucio, your motion, as you first said it, is still the same motion before us right now. I want to be clear for our record. Nothing has changed. Commissioner Washington just asked a question, but your motion, as you stated, is exactly the way it is right now. So now I'm going to call for the vote. All those in favor of placing of our calendar set with the modifications that Commissioner Lucio stated, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay. All
And
those
I think
opposed.
Commissioner Holloway has his hand up.
Oh, no, that was from before.
That's from before.
All those who oppose say nay.
Nay.
Okay. Any abstentions? Okay, so the ayes have it. This is going to be our calendar. Commissioner Lucio, just make sure that our calendar is transparent and it's out there so everyone knows and is notified of our calendar. Thank you.
It will be on the website and it'll be in the minutes. Thank you.
Question.
Wonderful. Yes.
But all of our all of our dates are subject to change because it depends on what may be going on, even though they're virtual. I understand.
Absolutely.
Yes,
Always.
that's all I'm saying. Yes. Okay.
Okay. So I believe there's one more item of business before us. I believe that is the
grant.
The grant guidelines update. So I take it, Commissioner Washington, is that something you want to quickly talk about, or?
Yeah, yes, I do.
Okay.
I've sent these grant guidelines out to each of you twice, and I understand Commissioner Lucio has sent them out once as well. I got responses back from Commissioner Lucio and Commissioner Edwards. The grant guidelines that we have are our grant guidelines that we've had all the time. Commissioner Edwards asked me to look at them and to go over them and make sure they were accessible. I mean, make sure that they were good and read properly and were within align with what the Office of Advisory Neighborhood Commission had put forth as well. So I was hoping that each one of the commissioners would have read the grant guidelines and policy and the application so that we can vote on it. I will say that the only changes that were made or change that was made was to the dollar amount. Our original grant guidelines had $500 on it. And as we had been discussing that we wanted to increase it to $2,500, and that's what I did on the application or the grant policy and guideline statement. So I don't know if it's 9:30. I mean, it's quite a bit to read. I'm sure Commissioner Lucio will be posting the grant guidelines and also the application on the website, and it's very clear as to how you access it, how to go about requesting a grant, what your qualifications have to be, as it examines, it talks about the budget period, how we consider the grants, itemizing expenditures,
So
accountability. It just talks about everything. So
So
I would like to put a motion on the floor that we approve the ANC grant guidelines and policy and the application, and so that the residents in our ANC can start applying for grants.
I would second that motion, and just a comment to say that everyone's had plenty of time to review this, so we should be able to vote on it tonight.
Wait a minute, wait a minute.
You better put your hand up.
Commissioner Holloway, did you have something to say?
I'm sorry, I hit the button by mistake.
Okay,
But,
okay.
tell Commissioner Lockett, don't tell me the rules, okay? Just stay in your lane, all right? How about that?
Okay. It's listen, we're just getting late. The time is late.
Yes.
That's all it is. That's all it is. We're gonna finish this.
Did we get a second?
So yeah, we
Yes.
have a second. I believe the
Thank you.
second was
I
by
second.
Commissioner Lucio.
No, I seconded it
Okay.
already.
Okay, so Commissioner Lucio seconded that motion. Any questions? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
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 Okay, all those opposed say nay. Okay, the ayes have it. That is our business for this evening, everyone.
I'm sorry, Commissioner Fletcher, just one comment on this real quick, just to let everyone know, and I've talked to Commissioner Washington about this. We are going to put the guidelines on the website. The form, we are going to create an online accessible form. So I'm going to be working with our web developer to do that. That may take a little bit of time, but as soon as we get that done, that all will be posted on the website for people to fill out online on the website.
Perfect.
Thank you,
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you, community. It's almost a 3-hour meeting. We got it done.
Yes.
Everyone stay safe. Take care. Have a good night. Bye-bye.
Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Have a good one.
Good night.